I may not be a fall baby, but I love this time of year. Autumn in New York is crisp air, cozy sweaters, and warm flavors just make everything feel comforting. I mentioned I'm getting married. Super busy, everybody is in town, and I want to look my best. Healthy eating is the primary focus, and with Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for clean eating, you can do just that. Green Chef makes it easy to spend less time in the kitchen and more time enjoying fall. And with their new Heat and Eat meals, enjoy a delicious, wholesome meal in just 3 minutes. Perfect for supporting your wellness journey, Green Chef recipes feature fresh, organic, seasonal produce and 100% responsibly sourced proteins to help you feel your best. Green Chef's real clean ingredients help you build lasting, healthy habits without the hassle. Enjoy salads ready in just 5 minutes, protein-filled breakfasts, or nutrient-rich smoothies to fuel your day. Green Chef is ready to nurture your nutritional needs. I use this and you should too. I mentioned I'm getting married. Oh my goodness, it is the week of the wedding. Oh my goodness, I mentioned I'm getting married. It's the week of the wedding. Diego and I have been cooking up a storm, but we don't have a lot of time, so we just tried their baked lemon pepper tilapia with feta. It was the perfect nutritional meal to keep us energized. I loved the feta cheese to give it a little bit of extra oomph. It's so delicious. You'll love it as much as we did. Make this fall your healthiest yet with Green Chef. Head to greenchef.com/50tags and use code 50tags to get 50% off your first month, then 20% off for 2 months with free shipping. That's code 50tags at greenchef.com/50tags.
Nothing brings us together like Eggland's best eggs. Always so fresh and delicious, plus superior nutrition like 6 times more vitamin D, 10 times more vitamin E, and 25% less saturated fat compared to ordinary eggs. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs. Visit egglandsbest.com to learn more.
What is going on? You are listening to Tags Podcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 710. I am your host, Stevie V, alongside my 2 co-hosts, Lincoln. How you doing, Lincoln?
I'm doing great here in New York City on a cold day. It's not warm out, so it's nice to be inside talking to you both.
Nice. Also, of course, joining us, Cody Maurice Doggett in Los Angeles. How you doing,
darling.
Cody?
Hello, darling. I'm doing well, and it's not cold here, and the sun is still up, so that's very different from what it is in New York. But I'm still happy to be here with you guys.
Great. And in a totally different time zone, I am in Mexico. I was just working with VACAYA, and now I'm staying in my sister's, and I just wiped off all the sweat. I'm so hot. It's so hot here. Baking.
I
Of course,
live.
the time got me all discombobulated and barely made the show. But here I am, and we have so much to get into on this sex talk. We have a lot to get into. We will be talking about VACAYA a little bit later in the show. I'm still in the wedding glow, 2 weeks out, and haven't even talked to you guys much about it. But you were there, and I'm so happy you guys were there. Yes. But let's get into sex talk. And I was inspired because of my VACAYA trip. I'll tell you why. When we're calling today's episode, Look at Me versus Feel Me. So I'm talking about exhibitionism, when exhibitionism meets tantric connection. And what's the difference between wanting to be seen and wanting to be felt? And we know that one is about the thrill of exposure, while the other is about the energy of connection and what happens when those two worlds collide. And I will tell you why I was inspired by that, because working with VACAYA this week, I assisted friend to the show, Will Tantra, and I was his Vanna White to all his tantric classes. And it was really excellent because a lot of people had no idea what Tantra was. And this was really about connecting and doing techniques through breath work, even stretches, to making your masturbation sessions longer than just 5 minutes, techniques about senses, about eye contact, about later in the week, we got into a couple of group plays. And then there was the whole energy of working with a partner. And I use that as a basis, and we'll get more into Tantra in a minute, but I was also working the RLD, the red light district. And
Ooh.
while I got into that, obviously I was scantily clad, but I did bring it up to my boss at one point. He said, "What are we going to do for Halloween? Should I get some Halloween decorations?" And I said, and he was like, "Oh, I don't want to do that. It's too hot to go shopping." And I said, "Or I could go dance naked."
Oh,
And he loved the idea. We pulled in a stage and we really kept the red light district varied every night. And this was the pinnacle last night of our RLD.
love
And
it.
when you're on a go-go box, I hadn't been on one in a long time, especially naked. I had a loincloth on, but took it off. You are being a true exhibitionism. So, well, by day, I was working on connection. Although, as an assistant, when you're displaying things for the group, it is a little bit of exhibitionism, but it's also about connection. And I couldn't
It's
help but
more.
thinking the dichotomy of both of those things and how do they intersect. And it got me thinking about this topic that we're talking about. And I always thought it would be just to kind of get things going. Let's just start with the psychology of exhibitionism. We all know what it is. Exhibition is beyond the stereotype sometimes. It's not just flashing or performing, but being turned on by being seen or desired. There's validation. We can talk about control, vulnerability, and arousal through attention. But obviously social media has a lot of influence on exhibitionism. People that do not suitable for work content are often being exhibitionism. But have you ever felt more turned on because you knew someone was watching or could be, Lincoln?
Yeah, because I love I love being in like a secret or getting caught. That's why I like public sex or in restroom sex. I've always found that to be very hot because someone can walk in the door, someone can, who knows what might happen. So I do find that to be a fun factor when having fun, not necessarily during highly intimate times though, right?
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. And I think there is that allure of being caught. I can agree with you too. I mean, Cody, when I was on the box, there is that ability to be caught by somebody you don't know that's going to walk in the room and see you on a box like, oh, I didn't know he was doing that. But there's also the thrill of just I can get in the moment of being watched, and there's something about it where it's a performance side of myself that says that I was supposed to be here, and when I know I'm supposed to be here as opposed to just being caught, that I can then relinquish it all to a
Yeah.
performance and still know that I'm putting on a show, but I need to really make it interesting. How do you weigh in on the allure of exhibitionism?
Well, the first thing about I would never want to be caught. When I do things in public, like in a restroom, I still do them, by the way. It's not like I'm not saying I don't do them because I do, but the thought of getting caught really it weighs heavy on my mind. Fills me with so much anxiety that I much prefer doing it in a space where it's kind of allotted for that, like a back room, like having public sex in those spaces where it feels safer. And like you said, you can perform, you can put your all into what you're doing instead of having to worry about is somebody going to walk in. So I still do it. I've done it in airports. I've done it in plenty of places, but it does give me a little bit of anxiety.
And then if we switch the tone over to, say, tantric connection or the energy of tantric connection, and then like what is even tantra in general? And when I was working with Will, I've worked with him before, I've practiced my own, in its general course, it has a lot to do with being in the moment. And he used the metaphor of just masturbation, where many of us have taught ourselves to jerk off play with ourselves with no lube at all. We can do it in 3 minutes or less if we're really in a rush, where sometimes our minds are coming from, we're almost multitasking that into the day to kind of get it in. And then it's like, woof, we're done. Whereas Tantra and working with Tantra, breath work, you really want to separate yourself from all the things that are going on in your mind through breath work, through sensory touch, beyond just your genitalia, but that you're actually really becoming present, with the idea, at least Will's work, is that you then take that to your partner. So a lot of the work that he does is deep, deep breathing, almost meditative breathing, and really transfers and shifts your mind into a present zone. And when we were doing it as a group, you could just feel being in the moment. And through things like when you worked with a partner, eye contact, we had to do this eye contact. And, it's always the right, is it the left eye? The left eye that is more the window, they say, to the soul. And we did some partner work and sitting across from people, and I could get into it. It took a minute, but my partner took a little bit longer to, he wanted that giggle and that laugh, because you're staring in someone's eye and it really takes you out of it. But imagine if you're in a class that ultimately this will take you to your partner, somebody that you really want to connect with, instead of rush.
Or even just like going in with your partner in the inception. I think that it would be a completely different dynamic, and it'd be something that you could share and would only strengthen your bond. So I really like the idea of this. And when I get a partner, I might apply it.
One of the things, Cody, that we talked about in this class too was, even when you are, I think Will used the funny example of back in the day, one time he timed it out. He met somebody on Grindr. He parked wherever they lived. He looked at the clock. It was one time. He went in, he did his thing. He came back and it was 12 minutes later. Like, it was a 12 minutes, and it was like the whole process of actually finding the person, the drive over, all of that took way longer than the actual act of. And that's when he started to think about, this is crazy. Not that can't be fun and you can still have those moments. But Lincoln, when you think about shifting in the connected sex that you've possibly had with, or have had, of course, with Pita, that's different. Well, how is your connection with Peter and what we're talking about just being in the moment?
We're not prolonged sex people. I mean, we are to a degree, but like the whole concept of edging has always kind of irritated me, like get on with it. And maybe having more of like doing a workshop like this with him would open our minds up to, the possibility. But I'm more about coming 4 times in an evening than prolonging the whole evening to one time. And that, not that I've never done that, but
it's
more,
a long session.
Yeah, of course. It's like you take breaks. Exactly. Yeah. And that constant, like, don't, like, let's stop, or, slower, which again, I think can really be a great benefit if you're taking the class or into it, or decide to contribute one night to that. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think we all
have every night to that. Who knows?
I think we all have our ways to get into a mood. And if you're talking about a long session like that, I don't think I'm out of line telling or saying that you like pot, right? Both you and Peter. And is that one way that gets you into the separation of your busy workday into a session?
No, my pot usage, I've kind of stretched that rubber band, as far as there used to be a day where I would smoke pot, get hornier, have sex, sleep. Now pot doesn't have that same effect on me anymore. You know what I mean? It's more of like a cushion for any time of the day than something that's like, I'm going to save it for, the pot. And Peter doesn't smoke at all. Peter smoked a lot when he was younger, and he doesn't smoke a lot as an adult. It just makes him tired and not want to eat, which is like the opposite of most people. I know. Is that crazy? Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Right. And then we're
oh my gosh.
I know.
Right? I know.
When we're so like yeah, so when we're like talking about one of them's like tantric connection, one of them feels more like you're present, and then one's versus performance. Uh, d- Cody, do you think that those two can actually intersect? I mean, can you actually be performing and connected? And I think the answer is yes, and I'll tell you in a minute why. I want to hear yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the answer is yes too, because I think that I personally have had very connected sex in a public space before. I do think
You almost have
that
to, right? Because if in terms of getting hard, you have to be focused
no,
on that
no,
person.
I don't agree with that. I think that me watching other people having sex is while I'm fucking somebody and I'm oh god, this is going to sound horrible. And it can
Or
literally
not.
be any hole.
It could
And
really be
I'm
any
so
hole.
it could kind of be any hole, honestly. Sometimes, not all the time, but it could be anybody. I mean, not anybody, but it could be a lot of people.
So
And
your visual is taking over the actual physical.
yes, the connection in
The
spaces
phys-
like that.
well, it's like jerking off and watching porn,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But
So you like
it's
your
live
porn. I
porn.
say this all the time. I prefer my porn live.
And
So
my
it's a
hand
live
is
porn,
a
and you're
hole.
right.
Live porn is, yeah, live performance
So
art, as we can call it, can be extremely hot.
I don't know
And
if it's
yeah,
always art. I might
well,
challenge that a little
art
bit.
to
it's an
me.
art
It's just
form.
people having sex.
What is
Come
art?
on, like what is
Some
okay?
people do
Great.
it. Some people can make an artistic
But to
exhibition.
Yeah,
but to
I
go back
just
to your
wouldn't
question.
default to that. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're fine. I think that it's definitely something that I've experienced before. Like I said, the first time I went to a sex club, I went with my monogamous boyfriend, and we had sex in front of so many people, and it was just me and him, and it was kind of hot having that connection and having all these people knowing that people, but not necessarily recognizing that people were watching me. So I've done it
Right.
before, and I'm looking forward to do it again because that was fucking hot and amazing.
Right.
So
You know, one of the interesting conversations I was having was, when it's that, I don't know what you call them. It's like the horse and the mare, these parties that happen where bottoms line up and there's usually a lottery to get that spot, but they're literally legs up in the air and
a lottery.
there's yeah, apparently it's a whole thing, these parties to get that spot. And then the tops that come in, would that be what you were talking about, where you can just get turned on by it could be any bottom, Cody? Because that's kind of what those parties are to me. You're not necessarily, have you ever seen those videos before where the bottoms often can't even see the
Yeah,
tops? It's
I
totally
Correct.
cut off.
if I could not see the bottoms, it would probably be fine. I
Face. Yeah.
no, the body too. But like, it's really kind of if I see the body and it's something that I'm not necessarily attracted to, because I like muscles. I like muscles. I'm not afraid to say it. So if I see a body that like necessarily I wouldn't necessarily gravitate towards, then that could probably take me out of it. But if I couldn't see the body and it was just the hole
The,
there, I could
the
probably get into
feeling.
that. I've been to like glory holes and things of that nature and been just fine. So yeah,
Just fine.
It's just fine. Yeah.
everything worked out. Everything worked. So we're
I
doing,
love
I
it.
doing
don't think I
good.
could do one of those parties, but I could like the glory hole thing is there's an eroticism to it. And I think, yeah, I could definitely get into it as well. But that would definitely be just me in the moment, slightly performative for sure. But yeah, not tantric at all. I don't know. What do you say to that, Lincoln, to those
Um,
parties?
to the which parties?
The horse and the mare parties.
Um, I have been to one of those in Berlin, and
Ooh,
because I was in a foreign country, it was very exciting to me. But I do like connection with people, and it just I don't know if it was the healthiest environment for me to be around. It didn't really feel like a match for me. However, the club in San Francisco that used to be very popular, Blow Buddies, which closed down during the pandemic, which was basically a blowjob club. You
Right.
weren't allowed to have quote unquote, anal sex in it, except for specific nights. I really liked that party because it was very flirtatious. You got to see people outside of the booths and then know who was going in the other booth, but then have that divider between you, which made it kind of hotter. And then if that didn't work, you would get out and go into that booth with them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's multi levels to play with it than being all or none. Like being an all anonymous horse kind of party or being a tantric 7 hour stare into your eye party. Those are a little extreme to me. I kind of like more flexibility.
I will say when I was in this tantric workshop that I got shout out to Will Tantra of tantricfitness.com, because I learned so much about how I can take a lot of these techniques and bring them to my own husband, and we can actually work on, definitely in terms of arousal, on how a lot of people think they're not wired nipples, right? And there are different ways, and how through breath work, through connection, through eye contact, that you can actually find out other areas of your body that are turned on, that can be so sensual at first, that then really elongate out the process of, and give you more, like you were saying, Lincoln, opportunities of not just the same old. I think that we're built to not just be so focused always on the genitalia, and through work like this, you can actually, have connected sets. Even Cody, with a hookup, you can bring a lot of those techniques with you when you, instead of just wham bam. I mean, that can be fun. I do that in the dark room at times, but I just think through this work, it can be so much more lasting, as opposed to when you're being. But I mean, I just want to end with, can these two worlds collide, Cody?
Wait. Well, first and foremost, I am never a wham bam. Even
Yeah, I didn't accuse you of.
when it comes to the hookups, I hooked up with a guy last night here, and he was like, "I need to go to sleep." I was like, "Well, I need at least 45 minutes to
That's
get
nice.
into it." So if you need to go to sleep, you need to go to sleep. And I ended up going over there, and I have all the techniques. So
Yeah.
so he was very satisfied. I think his actual words were, that was, wait, what did he say? Well, he was just complimenting me. He was like, that was crazy, or that was wild, or something like that. So yeah.
And it's like
I think
confidence that you have,
you
confidence
think so?
with an exhibitionist side to you, that really come together. And you know what? Kudos to you for actually saying, I need at least 45 minutes. And I think a lot of
Yeah.
people don't
I
put
wasn't
that
gonna
out
get
there on the
dressed. I was gonna
apps.
stay in the house. I was like, I will be all right here, but I'm like taking a nap, going to
And
sleep.
getting
I
on
know
La Cienega Boulevard and going, taking the 405 to the
if you
10
go
to that whole
if you're
rigmarole.
tired and you need to wake up at 7 a.m. and it's 2 o'clock in the morning right now, we don't need to do this. I will be okay. I can find I could also find somebody else, but I probably wasn't going to. So yeah, and he enjoyed it. So yeah, shout
That
out
I
is
to
like
you.
great
that.
that you were upfront about that. I agree with you, Stephen. That's really
I don't play
admirable
games.
and true. No, that's good.
Yeah, and I
Great.
Yeah,
think a lot of that, I meant that confidence, because you are really good at exhibitionism. Being confident to put that out there on what you want is what
yeah,
something that is really good.
yeah. But
Yeah,
I felt like we had a connection, and I felt like it was something that we forged. Definitely, I think that when, even though we didn't really know each other, the sexual chemistry was definitely there. So I feel like we explored that as much as possible. I know his name, so I'm doing
Half
all
the
right,
battle.
right?
It's half the battle.
oh my gosh. Okay. Well, we want to know how you weigh in. Are you more of an exhibitionism, or are you more on the tantric side and you're trying to connect, or can those two worlds collide? You can always go to our tags Patreon community, patreon.com/tags podcast, and weigh in on this conversation, because I have a feeling there's more to discuss on this and we want to hear from you. But it is time to get into hot topics. And this one, I thought we were hearing the last of her, Kim
Oh, God.
Davis. When the court is scheduled to consider whether to hear Kim Davis's challenge to same-sex marriage at a private conference happening this week, Friday, November 7th, As a general practice, though, the court does not grant review without considering a case at least 2 consecutive conferences. So even though they're taking this conference, typically it would be 2. This is the first conference in which Davis' challenge will be considered. If the justices deny review, however, that could come as soon as Monday, November 10th. So I thought, it's not that surprising in this administration that it's come to this and that we're still hearing that name, Kim Davis, Lincoln. But I mean, I'm personally glad I got married, and because I have heard that once you're married, it's in the books. But still, I care for all of our people. And are you surprised by this, Lincoln, that it's getting this far?
I'm not, because there's people on the other side that are pushing back really hard. And she gave them a microphone, and she said it and did it in the right way. And it's super unfortunate that something like that can still go forward. And right now, I know I personally, as a community, as America, everything seems very upside down. And all we can do yet again is hold on and make our right decisions for ourselves and for our own family, and take a deep breath and try and get through it. We have 3 years left.
Yeah.
And I think other stuff is still going to keep coming up. And, the one thing I can say is it's not a surprise to me.
It's not a surprise.
This is a surprise. Either. If you read Project 2025, if you know the overall agenda that started decades ago, it's no surprise. So.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Cody, being with VACAYA, it was called Camp VACAYA, and we were reliving. I was a camp counselor, and everybody were campers, and we were divided into different camps. There was a camp challenge all week, and it was so much fun. It brought out the child back in us, all of us. I didn't watch one television program, one movie. I didn't look at any news. We were really in camp mode, and it was really refreshing. I came up for air yesterday. I was talking to my sister, and I said, I didn't look at news at all. It was so nice to take a break. But of course, we're in election mode now, and I'm kind of back in it. But anyways, what do you say about, are you surprised that Kim Davis is back and that they're actually going to hear this meeting? I mean, it's just a meeting, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I agree with Lincoln. I think that if you have any wherewithal or like you were paying attention at all, then you would see, especially with what happened with Roe versus Wade, I think that a lot of things that are coming to fruition they've already said. So I think this is something that they had planned for a very long time. I read somewhere that they are not trying to go after gay marriage at this point, but I would rather be safe than sorry. It's something that we need to keep watching out for, because one day I would like to get married.
And you will, darling. Yes.
Thank you, boo. I appreciate that. So F Kim Davis.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we'll keep
and
you posted.
Remember, if they do take it back to the States, then your marriage would be. In New York. Yeah, I live in New York. I live in California. It's not like I'm fighting to get married in Kansas right now. Right. God knows I don't know the politics in Kansas these days.
Not that K word.
Thursday Night Football is on, and it's only on Prime Video. This week, it's an old-school rivalry as the Las Vegas Raiders collide with the Denver Broncos. It's going to be a showdown with the Raiders versus Broncos at Mile High Stadium. This game's going to show you what football is all about. Rivalries, breakout stars, and the kind of intensity that will remind you of why we all love the game. Can the Las Vegas Raiders find a way to stop the Denver Broncos offense, which is one of the most dynamic ones in the NFL? Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with football's best party, TNF Tonight, presented by Verizon. Not a Prime member? Not a problem. Simply sign up for a 30-day free trial. It's the Raiders and the Broncos, Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Prime Video. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
At Walgreens, we know flu season can feel a little chaotic. So we're going to give you our flu info
in a meditation, keeping you calm, just like a certified Walgreens pharmacist will do if you're a little needle nervous. So walk in or schedule an appointment, and Walgreens will handle the rest.
That's the human kind of help. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
I know, or wherever you might want to get married. Oh, really?
Yeah. I was there last year. Wait, 2 years ago? I was there 2 years ago.
Remember? We were talking all that. Okay, moving on. Queerty did this really interesting ask when it comes to making relationships last. There really is no secret sauce, but they did ask their readers, what are some of the things that make a couple's future really determined? And I'll read you a few responses. You tell me what you think might make a relationship last. And one person said a variety of things. A couple was together for 35 years, but I broke it off because I was married with 2 young kids. Fast forward 26 years, and I had come out and knew of him through social media. I ran into someone who knew him and asked where he was, and the response was, he'll be here in 10 minutes. He walked through the door, recognized me immediately, and we've been together 9 years now. Aww. The reason our relationship lasts, he says, is we missed a lot of years together, and now we can live a fun, normal life with 5 rescue dogs and a kitten. Life is beyond good. Love is what it's all about. I really love that one. Somebody also said that my husband and I have been together for 22 years. Yeah. The answer is not honesty. It's not financial stability, although they say these things are important. It's not common interest. It's not listening. These things help, but eventually they'll all hit a low point. The one thing that's kept us together, the commitment itself. We get along great and feel blessed to have one another. Committing to a life together and making that commitment unbreakable, you can overcome anything. I really loved that one, especially as I just got married too. And the commitment that I made in front of you and so many of my friends is that, yes, we have to make this work, whether low times, high times, everything in between. And I think there are going to be, yes, of course, listening, and of course things will come up, but it's almost like we have to make this work, and we want to make this work because we made that commitment. That's where I come in. Lincoln, where are you as with your fiance, Peter, on what is this secret sauce, if there is any?
Well, I think it's the same sauce whether you're a lesbian couple, a straight couple, or a gay couple. It doesn't really matter. You're making a choice to live a life with another person, to develop the boundaries that you both agree on within that relationship, to respect one another, and to elevate whatever community you're in to a higher level and a higher understanding of love and commitment. Some relationships manifest that by having children, some by raising
rescue dogs. Is this one?
Rescue dogs. Some do it by adopted children. Some people never have children and do it through charity work, or just being a pillar within their own family to represent a higher ideal of relationship. I have a cousin who just was here in New York, who I haven't seen in multiple decades. She ran the marathon.
Nice.
And we finally got to get back together. I haven't seen her in forever. And she married a little later in life, and they've been married ever since. And she broke the chain of divorce in my family. And there's not a lot of people in my family, there are family members that can say that, because on a certain side of my family lineage, everyone has been divorced, sometimes multiple times. So and while they do not have children and they do have a lot of dogs, I really thank you for the reminder that she has raised the pillar in our family of responsibility for commitment with her and her husband. Doesn't matter your sexuality. So, and that's kind of where Peter and I kind of lie in it as well. You know, we don't need a marriage certificate for us to be married. We're on, but we will when that's appropriate. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't benefit us tax wise. There's things we have set up that it would actually hinder us at the moment. Sure. And down the road, when that's meant to be, it'll be. But our commitment to one another kind of started on our first date, which will be 7 years on December 20th.
We were just trying to figure that out.
Ever since. 7 years.
Yeah. I was just trying to figure that out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of
It's
crazy.
interesting, Cody, because I saw the one and only Mama Tits here in Puerto Vallarta
Love
perform,
her.
and prayers to Mama Tits right now because she is dealing with cancer right now,
Oh
prostate,
my
and I think
God.
she's she's going to start her treatment soon. But man, did she put on? And she's all about positivity, and I love her so much. She's been on our show. I know you know her, Cody, but
Yeah.
she's in a relationship now, and she is no longer with her husband and no longer with, they were in a throuple, and she said the
They not
one thing to
together no
her
more?
in answer to this queerty, really, yeah, but she has a new relationship and a new man, but
Yeah.
she said
Wow.
with the husband of 20 some odd years, she said, I can deal with anything. And I can deal with sex work. I can deal with you doing something on the side, but do not lie to me, honey. Do not lie to me. The minute you lie to me, it's over. And apparently he
Yeah.
lied to her, and she caught him in it. And that was her deal breaker for her. What do you say to that? Or what is your key to secret sauce in a relationship?
Yeah, definitely honesty. Let's put that out there. Honesty is definitely one of the paramount things that you need to be in a relationship. But I want to say communication and especially vulnerability. If you can't feel like you're safe with your partner, then I don't understand why you're in a relationship with that person, because it's all about opening up and making sure that they see who you are, which can only strengthen the relationship, and who you see who they are as well. So yeah, I definitely was. And I want to reiterate the commitment part, because that shit is hard. So
It
if you
is.
don't
Yeah.
rely on your commitment, then you're not going to make it.
Well, it's like you've got your life, you've got your story, then you're with somebody, they've got their life, their story. You all come from
Yeah.
different backgrounds, and now you're merging these two worlds together. Now it's your individuality and your mutual shared, and it's a lot. I mean, whoever said this was easy is not lying. So,
Well, it's
Yeah.
also all of a sudden you're in a situation where you're not the only priority.
Yeah.
correct.
And I
You have to
think for
prioritize somebody else.
right, and for our community, that was something that was so drilled into us, at least in the 70s and 80s, that if you couldn't be out in the world and open about being gay, and everything was kind of on the down low to begin with, how could you think of more people than just yourself? It was a sense
Yeah.
of survival, right?
Yeah.
So now I just brought this up actually at a dinner last night, that when the like gay marriage passed, all of a sudden I had all these friends who were in their late 30s, early 40s that had full on meltdowns because they were disappointing their family that they never got married, but it was never
Mm,
able to get married. And now
correct.
all of a sudden they felt the pressure, which I never felt this pressure, but
Me either,
they
but
felt
yeah.
the pressure of like, oh my
I
God,
do.
now that it's legal, I don't have a mate and I don't have a this and I don't have a that. And I shoulda. So, it goes again, be kind to yourself whenever possible,
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
absolutely. Recently, moving on, John Waters, iconic John Waters, made a statement on why the term queer can be so controversial. And here's what he said. We'll discuss. I don't use it. He said, queer was a very hurtful word when I was growing up. I don't use it much. I'm not against it, but I don't use it. I have it in Hairspray when Penny says, he's such a queer. That just meant a nerd, too. It wasn't a gay thing, but being called a queer was very hurtful. And it's the same, like all bad words, you take it back. I like ribbon clerk, an anti-gay term that I find quite endearing. I never heard of that one,
Ribbon
but
clerk.
yeah, there's that ribbon clerk. It's British. It means a snotty little queen that works in a gift wrap department at Harrods. Oh, I love that. There are some horrible things to say about people, but I don't think anybody's been convinced of a hate crime by calling somebody a ribbon clerk. We're here, we're not queer, and nobody's used to it. That's really what it is now, because the young kids, they aren't just queer, they're open to everything. These new extremes do surprise me, even when I think that's very healthy. I am a survivor of the first sexual revolution, but there's definitely a new one that is going on. And the trans thing was, except recently, accepted by young people really quickly. Gay took centuries, but right now, every trans person's a murderer. That's what the homophobes are trying to say now. Yeah, queer I've adopted recently, and I'm working on a new app right now that's kind of my primary word right now. I've adopted it. It's fine, but I get what he's saying. I think he has a healthy mindset about it of different generations. Back to Mama Tits, she used the word faggot. She's like, "Hey, faggots," and she addressed it in her show too. She's like, "I know some of you don't use that word, but honey, it's what I use, and get over it. It's not that
And it's
serious."
her show.
And yeah, it's her show, and that's another word though. That's not one I've been able to use. I've had friends throughout the years use it, but Cody, what are your thoughts on what John Waters is saying of a word that he's still coming to terms, but he has a healthy mindset about how the younger generations have embraced it?
Well, first and foremost, I'm adding ribbon clerk to my bio just so everybody knows. I think it's the most
Ribbon
awesome
clerk.
term ever in the world. So there's that. And you know what? I hear what he's saying. There are other slurs that I do not use that have personally hurt me. And when you feel personally attacked by a slur, it's hard to kind of reclaim it. And it's up to you whether you want to or not. So I have adopted queer. I use it quite frequently, but I never got called that. I got called the F word, faggot. But I've only become more comfortable with that recently. But I still don't really. It's not part of my everyday jargon. So I think that it's all personal. If you don't like what somebody else is calling you in a personal conversation, then it's okay for you to set that boundary as well. I've told people, please don't call me that. I don't appreciate it. I know you said it with love, but please don't call me that. I don't like it. So
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because there was several, the UK version and the American version of Queer as Folk, and nobody seemed to have a problem with that. What do you say to that, Lincoln, and what John Waters is saying?
I understand what John Waters is saying, and I certainly understand people's connection to language. And like Maya Angelou used to say, that words have power and they stick to the walls. That always stuck with me, that they stick to the walls of the house when you use certain words or certain phrases. I also am really over people being so offended by certain words that they're looking for being offended more than hearing what the person is saying.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a sign of our times. And it's backfired, as we know, in a lot of ways in our political world. He is for us, she is for them. Remember that whole, it's backfired. So I do not have the answers. I'm still in the love is love. If you're trying to get your point across, I want to hear your whole point. And if you use 6 dirty words and 2 words that offend me, I'm going to try and focus on your point. Get your point, and then maybe we could talk about the words.
So, no, I get that. I totally understand that. But if you are trying to get a point across, what use would there be to try and offend the other person, or to even use
that's
the
the thing.
language?
No, it's not an intentional offense, though. So if you turn and you say something about him, and he said it's not a him, it's a they. Okay, so they were saying this to me, and then the other, he was just acting like a faggot, and da 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 da, and oh my god, you used the word faggot, but I'm just trying to I feel like we're
I hear what you're saying. Yeah,
there are people that there are some people that tend to get more caught up on the words that are being used than and being offended or waiting to be offended.
The only time I had an incident this week where I was having lunch with somebody and they were telling a story like you were saying, and they were telling of how it was a white person telling the story about how somebody said the N-word, and they actually said the N-word.
Oh my god! Let me off right now. I am done. I can't
pull my head out of the conversation, and all of a sudden I was out of body experience because I was like, "Oh my gosh, I know you were just telling that story, but you said the word," and I was like, I couldn't get over it. I was just, I'm not going to be a big deal about this, because he was telling the story, but I'm like, why did you have to say the word? But I mean, I know. And that's it's
very easy for me to get over if you're telling me a story.
Really?
Oh, even with that word. Okay. Yeah. That one.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't necessarily agree. But yeah. But
I think that if you are trying to get something across, you use language that actually bridges yourself to the other person. You don't use words that are going to kind of build a wall between you and the other person, because your point's not going to land.
Well, just to be clear,
to
I
your
would
point,
never.
Cody, it didn't land on me
It
because
didn't
all I
land.
could focus
Exactly.
on the
You're
N word.
focused on the N word.
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
in
I
mixed
mean,
company where people are using the N
somebody
word.
said the N word in front of me. That
Yeah,
wouldn't
that'd
work
be
out
really
for me.
bad. Yeah.
That would
Right.
be.
It depends where you're coming from.
One thing I shut down completely, and I would probably cuss them out because they shouldn't be using the N word. I don't use the N word. Why are they?
Yeah.
Oh, neither do I.
Yeah.
No, I get it. Sorry, I got a little bit hyped there. Go ahead.
Lastly, moving on. Jonathan Van Ness, we all know last season of Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Jonathan Van Ness addresses claims he's no longer body positive after losing 70 pounds. He says, I'm all about body neutrality. He revealed he started using a GLP-1 medication for weight loss in September of 2024. And that, like I said, he said, I was always really cute. I always felt cute, but I just didn't feel good. And now I feel good, addressing his body issues. And he went on to really just address that. He thinks it's really important to be honest with it. He's no longer, my body's never he said that his body's never looked like this. My body's never in my whole life. I've always wanted to have an ab. He said, I've never had abs and I feel really good. So I'm taking my shirt off a lot. And so does that make sense, Lincoln? What are you saying?
Which queer? Oh my God, I used the
one
word
with long
queer.
hair.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
The one with long hair, right?
Yes.
Yes,
I knew it because
that
I could
one.
never take him seriously to begin with. So that makes all the sense in the world that this is the one who's saying this. I think that's really sad because being around a lot of, well, it's just missing the point. It sounds so narcissistic and self-arrogant and a little uneducated, because those drugs are a great tool to release the food static and the food noise in a lot of people's bodies that have struggled with it forever. So
he addresses that. He had
that is really the point. And you don't get to be body positive about other people or not. I mean,
he said he's no longer body positive. He's body neutral, which
what does that mean?
Shut up. Like, this is, I want to use all the words to like shut down the conversation so no one understands what I'm saying.
Right? Like, me too.
It's interesting though, because with a lot of people, Cody, I've met a lot of people recently that have used a lot of these drugs, and it's helped them get their food and it's a whole transformation that goes forth. I mean, Mama Tits has lost a lot of weight. She's worked out a lot. I was talking to somebody that didn't use these, but just did a whole workout regime and lost 40 pounds. There is a trend going on with people, whether you're on these drugs or not. And I just give them I hate to use the word, space to tell their story, because I think if I lost all that weight, if I needed to, it probably would be a huge thing, and I would want to share it with the world. What do you say to all this and what Jonathan Van Ness is saying? I'm a little confused about body positive. He's no longer, and he's body neutral. I'm not sure what. Can you explain it, Cody?
He's neutral on people's bodies. I don't know. I feel like for me, it kind of gives, when you say you're not body positive, it gives a negative connotation. So I don't know what body neutral means. Maybe he just doesn't care about other people's bodies. Either way, I think that if the struggles that he went through, or they went through, because they are they them pronouns.
Thank you so much. We're not showing the video of this right now.
We have to show the video of this. But if you've gone through those struggles, I don't know how you can look down your nose at anybody else. And I hope that that's not what he's doing or they're doing, because I think that that would really be a shame, and that would eat up all the love that I have for Jonathan Van Ness, because I do think that has been a bright shining light in the body positivity spectrum and arena. So I think that they really push forward a lot.
Sometimes people say too much.
I don't get that vibe from him. He's one of those. Really? They are one of those people that no matter what's coming out of their mouth, the energy doesn't seem to really match it. For me. Yeah. For
I hear
me,
that.
Yeah. No, I get
you
it.
know, for me.
That was obvious. It was you
And
speaking. So yeah.
back to those drugs, what I think is the more current conversation to have about them is the strides that are going to be taken with them with addiction. Because
Yes.
that's what that drug really starts to attack is the addictive behavior in your body. And it changes your addictive mentality around food, soon to be alcohol, around other. So think of it this way, like if you know how some people can have 2 drinks and go, "Oh, that didn't feel good." Move on. Other people have 2 drinks and it like hooks something in them and they need another one and they need another
Yeah.
one. And that's why there's
Addiction.
AA, addiction, straight up. Well, this is like a counter to that pull. It pulls you the other way. It pulls you out and out of your into your right mind and takes it out. So I'm a person who has lost 82 pounds through fitness and diet. I am a person who has gained weight back because of emotional eating. I was bulimic and anorexic young in life. I have had food struggles my whole life. And when I started having some heart issues, and I've lost all the weight I could, those drugs were suggested to me by my primary care physician, and they have changed the conversation. Peter has lost his eating buddy, which is sad, but we could chow down on a bunch of stuff and carelessly eat. And now I'm more connected to the experience that I'm having with that person, what the food actually tastes like. And I do think that it's spilt over into having sex with 800 people in one night and not caring about their names, like we were saying earlier in the segment, what they look like or what they, and being able to be focused on the healthier balance in my life than anything that bleeds into an addiction in another realm. So there's a lot to be learned by this that
well,
is not
and to
in
be
that
fair,
quote.
he does talk about his food addiction. And to your point as well, Jeremy, our other co-host, shared his positive experience of his connection with food by being on one of Ozempic. And he shared that, right, Cody, recently with us.
Yeah.
And was very forthcoming about it on what the relationship, but said a lot of the side effects that some of his family have had on it, that it's not a go-to, but for him, it's been a positive thing. And he wanted to put that out there to our audience. And I think it's, we have to talk about this stuff. It's important. It's
Definitely.
yeah. So,
Yep.
and you're right. It is about addiction at times, and we have different relationships to it. Another friend of mine, she said it curbed her drinking. Actually, she doesn't
really
care, as much. And she's somebody that liked her wine, and so it curbs a lot of things, which can be a good thing. So her relationship with these things. So I think really good. Well, we love giving advice on the show, and lastly, tonight is no different than any other. And it was by a Redditor that was traveling and wrote, "Why do I feel empty after first time in a gay sauna? Hear me out. I am on a vacation in Budapest." Really want to go there. And went to a gay sauna for the first time. Overall experience good. I liked it. That it was very democratic. Lots of guys of all ages and body types. I don't really find engaging to have sex in places where you can barely see the other. So I didn't do much, just received some oral sex, but I was not much involved. So I focused on the dry sauna, the steamy sauna, jacuzzi, and some other conversations. But now I feel so empty and a bit sad. Maybe because it makes me realize that I'm alone? ? Although all those guys naked, relaxed, ready for action, and no one to care about. I didn't care even if they were handsome. I didn't notice anyone in particular. I feel I wish I could simply enjoy it. Cody, what do you say to this as somebody that he feels he had the time of his life in one sense, but then he feels a little empty? I can say there's been times when I've had great sex and then I'm, what do I have to show for it, I guess? And I couldn't separate, I guess, at the time that, no, that was just fun. Enjoy it. But you can also then look for love in the right places.
You can find love in a sauna. I think
you can find love in the wrong places.
Exactly.
Love and all the
Yeah. Yeah, now I'm depressed. Thank you so much,
Oh no,
Redditor.
we didn't want to end on a depressing note. You can always give us a home run though. World Series just happened. Bring us home.
All right.
Sports
No,
references again.
I know,
Completely
right? I was
lost.
confused
It's
for a
fine.
second.
Who
Yeah,
are they?
I think that this is I think it's very prevalent in the gay community, especially I think in the world, but especially in the gay community. I think that a lot of the culture is based around hookups and things of that nature, and not really finding a connection. I personally have always looked for a connection since until I got into my relationship and then out of it. And now I'm kind of in a space where I'm not really looking for a connection because for various reasons, but I'm not really looking for a connection. Connections have happened. And I think that it's important to make sure that you put time and effort into those connections. But I don't think I'm really looking for a boyfriend right now. I'm looking to date. I'm looking to get to know people. And I understand the sense of emptiness that he can experience during that. Because I felt that before I got into my relationship. I would go to the nightclub or to the back room, and then I would hook up with all these dudes and then go home, and I would be like, oh my God, I really just want somebody to love. So it might not be for this person if they are having this experience right now. So I think that they should really take stock of what they really want and go after an actual connection if that's what you want. Don't go to the back rooms. Because that's
Yeah,
what I
listen,
want right now.
first off, I would say give some grace to yourself. We say that a lot on this show too, because you're putting this out there and you're inquiring, like, what happened, and here's how I felt. The power of the law of attraction, you get what you put out there too. Maybe this will get you to be a little more mindful. Maybe you are looking for a stronger connection. And if that's the case, then you need to put that out there, the law of attraction. Lincoln, what do you say for how he was feeling in Budapest, this Redditor?
Well, I'm going to go all the way around the barn and back again with this because I do
love
think
a tour.
in this,
I love a tour.
like a good tour. Here we go. I do think in this day and age, we are being fed with images and commentary that you can have it all the time, everywhere, all at once. That the perception is that people are mentally balanced and happy, whether they have a boyfriend and they don't. Where as gay people, we could be as sexually liberated as we want to be because there's now PrEP and all these drugs that let us play without
Doxypep
consequences that used to be true. And I will say every time, I haven't said this, I don't think ever, every time I do this podcast, I'm very careful with my words because I don't want anyone to ever feel like I'm judging them for where they are, because you are where you are. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And there was a day, I've said this story before, where I was sleeping with everything. And I was at the Pines party, and the person I was with all night had an accident and twisted his ankle. And all of a sudden he was off the grid. He had to be taken care of. And I went back to the party and I felt so alone. Like so alone. And it had connected me with all the times that I had a great time at laboratory and then was alone. Had flying, doing all these things, trying different substances, and after the come down, I'm alone. And I don't know how healthy some of our behavior is. I never want to limit our liberation. I never want to limit anyone's behavior. But if you're going to a horse smart, I bit my tongue earlier in this podcast, and there's a hole in a wall with legs in the air and 18 people are screwing someone before you did. Where's the self-esteem in there? Where's the balance? Where's the health? And again, I've done a lot of that stuff. I had a great time in the moment and I'm not there now. I might be there in the future. I'm not judging anyone who is there, but I think self-care, right? Put the oxygen mask on yourself first is always the law before you can help anyone else. And I don't know, even take it out of the gay world for a moment. Drinking is the most accepted substance use in our culture. You
and
know,
maybe the most abused.
And it's the next worst chemical than crystal meth to put in your body. It's poison. You're drinking poison. You're smoking poison. And we still do it for the high, for the social lubricant, for the
wine
for whatever
for antioxidant value, but
bullshit. Like it's like staple. It's like smoking pot. It's like whatever it looks like. You know what I mean? So I think much like a play that I saw recently, which I talked about before. I told you I was going to go all the way around the fucking barn with this, right? That I hope
you're coming for the home run, though, right?
I am. I'm trying, but yay, football, whatever won the medal yesterday. I saw a play called Prince Faggot, and it's a very complex play about how many facets of gay life there is. And I don't know, with all those facets and with all that behavior, we are as multicolored beyond the rainbow flag, how much of our behavior is really healthy. And I'm just focused. I'm not saying that the straight community is healthy or another community is healthier. No, we all have our drama, especially in this day and age. So I do think, in closing, give grace to yourself, take a breath, and remember, if you're playing out something from your past, or you're doing behavior because you think of this fabulous future you need to have, try and live in the present, because it'll correct the past and the future automatically. And keep asking yourself the questions: what do I want? What do I really want? What do I really want? And answer the question. And if you answer it wrong because it doesn't feel good, so ask the question again and answer it right. Move on.
That's going to be our promo for tomorrow. I love that. Ask yourself the question. Yeah.
Ask it again. What do I want? What do I really want?
Always ask
what do I really want? And then you do that for a month and you're like, I thought I wanted that. I don't want that. What do I really want? Keep
really
asking.
Before we go, I just want to shout out. We love it when you find us. I was on the beach yesterday, blue chairs to be specific, sitting with my sister, and next door there was a guy. We just said hi like you do at Blue Chairs, and somebody said, I recognize your voice. Are you on a podcast? And I said, yes, Tags Podcast. He says, I recognize your voice. And he said, I love your host. I love Lincoln, and he loves Cody a lot. He bonds with you. But shout out to Abraham, who lives in Long Beach. Really great chatting with you on the beach, and we really love you.
Is he back here now?
He is somewhere still here in Mexico. But anyway, shout out to Abraham. And you can always keep the conversation going. We are live Wednesday night on Tags Live, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can follow my co-host, follow Lincoln on the gram for his Protein Bakery at Protein Bakery. Follow his personal account at Mad Lincoln. Follow Cody on the gram at Mr. Maurice, or on Blue Sky at Mr. Maurice. Follow me on the gram. I am _Stevie V. And in the meantime, continue having hot gay sex.
Hi friends, we are Dads and Daddies, a podcast about the lives and times of adult gay men in the here and now. I'm Brian Rubin Sowers, a married dad of 2.
And I am Judson Morrow, a resident daddy. Join us for frank conversations and personal stories of sex, love, relationships, parenthood, daddyhood, addiction, and so much more.
Find us on Instagram at Dads and Daddies Pod, and listen to new episodes every Tuesday on all major platforms.